Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Broderick Sutherland and I serve as the host of the reigning, defending, undisputed heavyweight podcast champion of the world. Holy shoot. Yes, hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to the Holy Shoot podcast, a podcast that is all about the world of professional wrestling. As I mentioned in the very Paul Heyman-esque intro, I am your host Broderick, and joining us on today's show is...
Chen, fine, Chen. I'll do it then.
This is Chen.
Read the script, Chen. Come on. I'm Sam, by the way. Last night, Chen was having quite a few goes at me at the meetup we went to watch Money in the Bank at for being unprofessional, and yet here we are. He can't even read the script for the first moment he has to be on the podcast. Honestly.
Listen, Sam.
Listen, we don't script things here. We do it off the top of our head, all right? We're not WWE.
This is what we do with, like, before you came on board, you know, me and Jason, we just mentally cried every time Chen just opened his mouth. Anyway, guys, in the words of Enzo Amore, how you doing?
I'm good. Ready to rock and roll.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, for once you're not saying I'm broke or I'm dying inside. Is it because, like, you got over that wedding, like...
Oh, yeah, definitely. I had, like, 3 weddings within 7 weeks. I'm just glad it's over and done with now. I can just finally relax and get back to normal life, which is enjoy.
Each discreet wife that Chen married only stayed with him for 2 weeks each time. So that's why he's been gone.
Oh, would explain that serial killings in North London. Sam, how about you, mate?
Not too bad. I'm actually in the middle of watching the last episode of Game of Thrones as we speak. I paused it to do this podcast because I am actually, contrary to Chen's opinions, I am a professional, and it's extremely disappointing. So I'm not that disappointed I had to stop halfway through.
Sam.
Even Money in the Bank's better.
Sam.
Yeah.
If you don't bend the knee right now, I'll ruin it for you.
I don't think you can. The writers already did.
Oh,
yeah. It's true, though. The surprises at Money in the Bank made more sense than the surprises in the last series of Game of Thrones.
Yep. And that is saying something. Anyway, coming up on today's show, we'll be discussing our thoughts of AEW's Double or Nothing pay-per-view. But up first, as mentioned by Sam just a second ago, we shall provide our review of WWE Money in the Bank 2019. So, Money in the Bank got some very mixed reactions from fans on Sunday night, somehow managing to dampen expectations but avoiding complete creative catastrophe. So thereby WWE provided a solid if unexceptional show with exceptional moments. Still, at least it was better written than the finale of Game of Thrones. So before we go into this review, gents, what are your brief thoughts on Money in the Bank?
I thought it was okay. I thought for every kind of duddish match, there was a match which had a few moments that made me do some shouting and jumping around down in the Belushi's dugout. So yeah, above average for a WWE pay-per-view. Probably won't watch it again. Don't mind that I watched it the first time.
Very good. What about you, Chen?
I actually really enjoyed it. There was a lot of moments where I was just jumping up and down. I think I jumped on you once, Brod. And it's,
who hasn't?
Yeah. So, I actually really did enjoy this pay-per-view.
I'm kind of in between. Like, I think there's a lot of great matches that are overshadowed by some really bad stuff. So, I will go more into a deep dive in this. So here's how the review is going to work. Sam has recorded some clips of our reactions on Monday night when we watched Money in the Bank. So if he has a clip, he will provide our media reactions from that night from different matches. If not, then you'll probably just hear a weird cut. But so that's what's going to happen. After that, we'll also provide our star ratings for this match before discussing the matches in more detail. So we're shaking up the reviews like a wildcard rule or a 24/7 title. So have you guys seen the pre-show match with the Usos and Daniel Bryan and Rowan?
No, I arrived late to the event, so I missed about the first 3 matches.
Okay, well, let's ignore Sam. You should have watched that before Game of Thrones. I mean, honestly.
I know. I'm sorry. People are less likely to spoil this. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. What about you, Chen?
I never watched the pre-show. That's all you listeners know.
Well,
if it's not good enough to be in the card in Vince McMahon's eyes, why should I care?
Because Vince McMahon knows nothing like Jon Snow. But anyway, no, that's a joke. He does know a bit more than Jon Snow. But so, okay, I give this 2.5 stars. It was a solid tag team match. Surprised Daniel Bryan got pinned. That's about it, really.
Wow, Daniel Bryan took the pin.
Wow.
Yeah, Rowan hasn't been pinned in 2 years, according to.
What?
Well, he's been injured for the most part, and then the Bludgeon Brothers were dominant. The last pinfall he took was in Backlash 2017, which was May 2017, and that was against Luke Harper. Remember that guy? So he hasn't been pinned in 2 years, and I suppose it makes sense because Daniel Bryan's a smaller man. So
yeah, but Daniel Bryan is like ex-heavyweight champion. Rowan is some dude who used to follow around a crazy preacher man and dress up as a sheep.
Rowan's a sidekick, right?
Yeah.
So, right.
But no, we got to keep him looking strong. Okay.
Yeah. I've also met Rowan, so of course, like, he has to be the one not taking the pin. So, because my connection with him. I'm just humble bragging at this point.
He wears cool metal band t-shirts, so I guess there's that.
Yeah. He's a cool dude. So leave him out of it. So yeah, I'll give it 2.5 stars. Not really much to talk about. Usos probably get a title shot on SmackDown at some point.
So
maybe in Saudi Arabia. Who knows?
So would you recommend that us non-pre-show watching heathens go back and watch it or not?
No, you're not really missing anything. It's a good warm-up match, but you're not really missing anything. I think. I would take back 2.5. I'd say it's 3 stars because it is good, but it's not like a Buddy Murphy cruiserweight title match.
Fair enough. Cool.
So Bayley became the 3rd ever winner of the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match. We'll go into more detail about her successful cash-in later on. But Chen, since Sam didn't watch this match, stupid Sam.
Rude.
You're the one rude by not doing your research.
I haven't.
We go onto this podcast full time, and you can't be. You're like worse than Jonathan Coachman when he was brought onto Raw.
God, Brod, there's insults I can take, but this is beyond the pale.
Well, you should have done your job better. So, Chen, what's your star rating on the Women's Money in the Bank ladder match?
All right. So I did miss the first 3 minutes of this match.
You didn't miss much in the first 3 minutes.
So I would give this 3 out of 5 stars. Oh. I was really impressed. The wrestler who impressed me the most in this match was Ember Moon. It just shows me how talented she is, and really WWE should get behind her. And I think I did say to you, Brod, yesterday that maybe it's time they stop putting, Naomi and Natalia and any of these older wrestlers who've been in the business for a long time, and start pushing the new, younger talent that are coming up.
So I give this also 3 stars. I agree with you, Chen. I think it's a good ladder match. I don't think it's a great ladder match. With regards to your comment about Naomi, first of all, actually, I'm going to touch on Ember Moon. Fantastic. That eclipse to Natalia was beautiful. Probably my highlight of the match. But yeah, with regards to Naomi in particular, I don't think that's fair, considering I think she was my MVP of that match. I think she was absolutely brilliant, and
she's very, very talented. But I think it's just time to, give the wrestlers a chance.
She's not that old.
But she's been in the business for 6-7 years now.
Yeah, and what she got a
women's title, a WrestleMania match,
one decent reign, and it wasn't even that good of a reign. So I don't think that's a fair comment, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Naomi was fantastic in this match, and
she was great. She was great.
Yeah, and I think Ember Moon was great. I think I would love to see Ember Moon has more chances, but I thought Bayley was the right winner here today. I
was surprised Bayley won with the whole Sasha thing and everything that going on, but I just think maybe I'm glad Bayley won, and I'm glad that none of the backstage stuff affected her.
I mean, I've been saying this for the past month. Weirdly, Bayley's been my favorite thing of SmackDown over April. I think everything she's done. She's had that little bit more of an edge that made her so watchable in NXT that it's glad to see that finally starting to come through on the SmackDown side of things, and I'm very much looking forward to see what she can do as a number one face of the female division on SmackDown. And I'm more relieved that it wasn't Mandy Rose. That's all I can say. I
do wish Sonya Deville was actually in this match herself, but
yeah, I did like the spot where Sonya Deville came out and tried to lift Mandy Rose up the ladder. I thought that was a fun little character moment. And I think when Bayley tipped it over, it made the victory even much sweeter. So with that being said, kudos to those two women in their role as well, just at the very end. I think,
so
some bits of storytelling goes underrated.
So me and Chen were talking about this at the meetup yesterday. Do you think the reason Bayley won this match is because of Sasha throwing a wobbly? The WWE are a really petty company. It would be very much the kind of thing they do if you're in a tag team and your partner leaves, to give you a push as like a, fuck you, Sasha. This is what you could have had if you'd stayed. We had big plans for you.
No.
No. All right, that's that one.
I still agree with what I said to Sam yesterday. I think it is. Kudos to Bayley for just getting on with it. Not showing up to every show and everything like that.
Maybe it's a case of they're rewarding Bayley for not being as insolent as Sasha Banks. I think Sasha. I don't really want to comment on it because I think there's more than meets the eye from both sides. I don't think it's fair to really criticize either WWE or Sasha Banks without knowing the full story, and I don't think we ever will. So, yeah, as far as I'm concerned, Bayley's a deserved winner, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, can I rate the winner 5 stars?
Yeah, you can rate the winner 5 stars. Yeah, I agree with that sentiment, Sam, and I'm pretty sure Chen does too. So, yeah.
All right.
So, up next, Rey Mysterio became the United States champion as Samoa Joe suffers death by roll-up, even though he was never pinned and he was bloodied and led to a beatdown. I'm going to ask you for a star rating as a segment, not as a match, just to mix things up a bit. So, Chen, you watched this. Sam, you didn't, but we'll go into the reason why in a minute. So, Chen, what's your star rating? Mine is 2.
I give it no star rating. No star rating.
I'm talking about the segment as a whole. So the
segment as a whole, okay.
Yeah.
2 star.
Okay, yeah, I agree. The match was garbage. I can't believe they ended it quickly again.
The only thing I liked about the match was Joe's psychology with the whole bloody face and everything like that. The way his acting is really on point.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Yeah, I love the Dominic thing, I'm not going to lie, and I hope they do more, and I hope there's a better payoff at the next WWE pay-per-view, not named Saudi Arabia. So yeah, Sam, why didn't you see this match?
So I watched a little introduction-y bit with Dominic. I can't believe he's a big boy now, and Roman Reigns is his stepdad. That's a bit strange. If you missed last week's podcast, we were talking about how someone on Twitter worked out that Roman Reigns is currently Dominic's custodian by winning matches and taking custody from the original match. Anyway, after that little introduction, I thought I've got time while they do their entrances to go and get a drink. So as Rey Mysterio's doing his entrance, I go off to the bar, get a pint, come back, and like they're introing the next match. So it's like, what's happened? Yeah, it turns out everything happened in like the 5 minutes that I was at the bar, so I did not see this match.
Oh dear.
I'm sure it was fine.
It was a bad. I mean, it wasn't even a match, but interesting segment. That's pretty much all I think we've got to say on that one, lads. So, third match on the main card, Shane McMahon showed why he is definitely the best in the world. As he beat The Miz. I did the Greg Hamilton, Shane McMahon's hand gesture, in a steel cage match. Death by sweaty escape. This was really bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, I wanted this match.
Star rating.
Star rating.
Go. So, Sam.
Let's go. I'll go 1.5, I think. There was
Chen?
I'll go 1.
I'll go 1-2. So Sam.
Oh, so I rated it highest. I think part of the reason I gave it the extra half star is because I wanted this match to be good. This is one of the non-Money in the Bank matches I was kind of excited to see on the card. I like Shane McMahon. People always criticize him, but his matches are normally fun. And The Miz is fucking great. So I was excited to see, this blow off in the cage. And then what I got was like a kind of sweaty mess, ending with like just an unnecessary amount of dad bod on display as like a finish. Yeah, it wasn't great.
Oh, well, Shane's not only the best in the world, he is the sexiest. Yeah, Chen, what are your thoughts? Why did you give it half a star lower?
So like Sam said, I enjoy Shane McMahon's matches, but I just had no interest in this match at all. Storyline wise, after WrestleMania, I was like, I want them to be done. I want them to go separate ways. As like Sam said, the finish was just absolutely bullshit. I was kind of glad when the match was over. That's when I was the happiest, when I was watching this match.
So yeah, I felt this match was slow, plodded, and awful. I feel it doesn't cater to Shane McMahon's strength. Shane McMahon is a sort of performer, and I won't use the word professional wrestler, that requires the smoke and mirrors of like a Falls Count Anywhere match, the ones that we saw at WrestleMania, which was really, bad, but it was really, really fun. And the steel cage match limits that, in my opinion. It's one of my least favorite match types anyway. So yeah, factor in that, a horrible escape. I really didn't like this match. Anyone else have anything to comment on?
When do they decide when they open the door? In the cage match, they sometimes just open the door, like, oh, let's make it easy for a bit.
I've already
does that get decided?
It's the power of telekinesis.
I could believe that when it was like Kane in there or the Undertaker, but Shane is the best in the world, but he's not a wizard.
He survived a helicopter crash. Like,
that's true.
You just opened a door for the man.
That was when he got his powers. He learnt to fly then. That was that. No, but if anyone genuinely knows what the actual rules, official wrestling rules, explanation of when they open the door in a cage match is, please tell us on Twitter.
By the way, that rope break.
Bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Man, I missed they did a rope break.
Second match in a row where a referee botched something. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. You couldn't make it up for the Zebras. So yeah, just thought I'd point that out about how bad that is. So let's move on, shall we?
Yeah.
I thought it was really good. Yeah, that's basically it. It's a really good match.
That's all I want.
Yeah, that was me reacting to the Cruiserweight Championship match. Tony Nese retained the Cruiserweight title by beating Ariya Daivari in a low-key solid match. So first and foremost, gentlemen, your ratings, and also after that, would this make you want to watch 205 Live? Sam?
I think I'd give that a solid 3.2, maybe 3.5. It was a solid, good cruiserweight match. It had lots of flips. I quite like Ariya Daivari. To be honest, I didn't know too much about either of these guys apart from seeing Tony Nese win the belt at Mania. So yeah, I thought it was good fun, solid cruiserweight. Would it make me want to watch 205 Live? I don't watch the other main roster shows very often all the way through, so I don't know why I'd watch that as well.
Oh dear. Chen, what about you? What's your star rating?
Yeah, I'll give it 3.5 stars as well. I'm someone who doesn't obviously follow 205. I said that before. This is not going to make me still tune into 205, but I thought it was a very, very, very good match. And yeah, but like I said, it's not going to get me interested into tuning 205.
I give this 3 stars. It's not like a Buddy Murphy level of a Cruiserweight Championship match, which is a shame. And of course, I also want to see Daivari win just because he's Iranian, and I think getting that Saudi Arabian heat.
Yeah.
I would have actually given up on my moral principles to watch that match if he had a Cruiserweight title match at Super Showdown, but it's a shame he didn't win. I think Daivari's a great heel, and I think Tony Nese is a very bland face. Yeah. With that being said, I thought it was a pretty good match on the whole. Loads of near finishes and false finishes, should I say. And I really loved Daivari's entrance as well with the car. I think that was underrated. Like in the spirit of Eddie Guerrero. So I quite like that.
Didn't they both get kind of cool entrances?
I missed the Tony Nese entrance, so
I didn't, but I can't remember what it was, so it can't have been that cool. Chen, can you remember?
No, I only saw Daivari's entrance.
I did have a few drinks. Well, look,
I was sober, so
2 double gin and tonics for £10, mate. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. I think during this match, I had to tell somebody that they weren't peppercorns in the gin and tonic; it was juniper berries, but.
It might have been me. Oh God, that was me and all.
That was you. That was you.
I mean, don't listen to me. I say all kinds of stupid shit.
Yeah. Never forget the fact that you thought the 619 was
I'm never going to live that
San
down.
Diego area code. Anyway, I think we're getting off topic. Does anyone want to add anything else before we move on?
Nope.
Okay. Let's
move on. So, I got some live reactions to the finish for Becky versus Lacey. First of all, Brod, I asked you your opinion.
It was a fine match. Just again another botched ending for Becky Lynch, and that one's on the referee though. I mean, both of them were on the referee, but that was bad.
So bad. Then obviously I asked Chen for his opinion as well.
I wanted the match to end in a DQ, so that way Lacey could stay strong still. Still look strong.
Disappointing for you then.
Disappointing finish.
And then obviously last but not least, Jason, who couldn't be with us, but he is in spirit.
More about the ending. Was that a deliberate, let's be controversial and have Becky get a strange not pin from Lacey? Is that almost going to be like a deliberate thing they're going to refer to? Or was the referee just a complete fucking idiot? That's the question. Well, yeah, we'll never know. Yeah. I was enjoying the match until then.
So you didn't get any recording of us reacting to Bailey?
No, I didn't get any recordings of the actual exciting things that happened.
Oh God! I mean, I miss Chris, and I never thought I'd say this. I miss producer Chris.
I'm not.
What are you doing, Sam?
He's a professional. I'm doing my fucking best, all right. Listen, what happened?
This pod's gone off the rails and brought you in. God damn it, pal.
I'm gonna make it up. But I think what happened was, after I finished talking to Jason, we both saw Charlotte coming down to the ring, and then I was just so away with like, okay, maybe Lacey versus Becky wasn't that bad if all this good stuff is gonna happen.
Yeah. Okay. So excuses, but yeah. So let's get our reaction now to the trifecta of women's matches you saw. I'm just going to clump this all together because all of this lasted under 15 minutes of match time. That's how limited these women got. So Becky Lynch, of course, beat Lacey Evans to retain the Raw Women's Championship in controversial fashion. Charlotte would then come out, beat Becky Lynch to win the SmackDown Women's title in even less time. And then Bayley would come out after Charlotte and Lacey Evans delivered a beatdown. Bayley came out to chase it away, knocked out Charlotte, and then cashed in Money in the Bank to become the number one face of SmackDown and obviously the SmackDown Women's Champion. So what I'm going to ask, guys, is 3-star ratings. And we'll go across the room first before giving our thoughts because Sam loves to spew off. So star rating for Becky versus Lacey, Becky versus Charlotte, and the Bayley moment, guys. So 3-star ratings, Sam. Give it.
I think Becky versus Lacey, 2 out of 5. Charlotte versus Becky, we'll go with 3.5 out of 5. It was all right. Didn't blow my mind. And then the Bayley moment, I think 4 out of 5. That was my biggest moment of the night, I think. It wasn't a perfect wrestling moment, so I'm not going to give it 5. But yeah, I think that was a solid 4.
Okay, Chen?
All right, so Becky versus Lacey, I'll give it 3 out of 5. Charlotte versus Becky, I'll give it 3 out of 5. And Bayley cashing in, 5 out of 5.
Okay, I'll be interested to hear more of your thoughts in a second, Chen. I agree with Chen. I think Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans was good, so 3 out of 5. Becky versus Charlotte was 1 out of 5 for me, and Bayley cash-in was 3 out of 5. So,
Can we go back just for a second? You mentioned about it was only 15 minutes. This whole segment was only 15 minutes.
Not the whole segment. Sorry, the complete match time. So
but that's still for both matches.
Yeah. So the first match was like 8 minutes 10, I think. The second match was 6 minutes 40, which
Man.
I think the cash in was like 45 seconds or something like that. But yeah, if it's not under 15 minutes or it's just over 15 minutes, it's really bad considering they think Becky Lynch is the face of the company right now.
Yeah. That's your 2 top women's division titles and like 3 of your top women's stars getting, a piss break's worth of time on the screen.
Yeah, pretty much. It's genuinely bad. I thought Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans did really well considering we haven't seen much of Lacey Evans on the main roster. I gotta be honest, I thought that match was good and surpassed my expectations. I didn't expect much from Lacey Evans considering what I saw of her in NXT she's good, but she's developing. So I was really impressed. It's a 3 out of 5 because it wasn't anything beyond good, but I think there's a lot more to come from Lacey. That Charlotte match, though, I'm not sure how you gave that 3.5, Sam. I'm not sure how you gave that 3.5. That Charlotte match was rubbish.
I got quite into it.
Charlotte winning a 10th championship. I mean, that's bad in itself. But it's just the match itself is boring.
I mean,
name anything memorable in that match.
That's
from Lacey Evans coming out and punching Becky in the throat.
That's literally what I was hoping when I started saying that sentence. I said the words I mean. I was hoping my brain would be like, here's a thing you remembered about that match. But it didn't do that. So it can't have been that good. I just remember enjoying it more than the Lacey Evans match. But now that you've got me on the spot, Brod, I couldn't tell you why. Maybe it's just my prejudices against Lacey Evans.
I think so. I think your prejudice against Mini Charlotte. So, Chen, why would you give this cash-in 5 out of 5?
Well, like I said, I was surprised that Bayley kind of did win the Money in the Bank with the whole controversy with the whole Sasha thing and everything. But I just didn't expect Becky to lose. First of all, a title in general to one of these women. I thought she'd still be called Becky Two Belts. Yeah. And then when she lost to Charlotte, and I was like, oh, god damn it. And then for Charlotte to lose it within 30 seconds, I did not see that happening. Charlotte winning the title and then losing it straight away.
Yeah.
And then just the way Bayley was celebrating with the fans and everything, I was super happy for her and everything like that. Like, it just came out of nowhere.
Nice moment, yeah.
Yeah. It just came out of nowhere.
I think the celebration was great. I think my issue with it, and the reason why I gave it 3 out of 5, is not so much Bayley winning itself. Like, I mean, I'm over the moon that Bayley has won. I just wish she had a bit longer time before the cash-in. And I think part of that stems from the fact that they did the exact same thing with Alexa Bliss last year, where Alexa Bliss won it. The women's Money in the Bank was the first ladder match of the night, and she would go in and cash it on Nia Jax.
Well, it
felt like the exact same moment. It's very copy and paste. And for me, it just says they don't know what to do with a women's Money in the Bank ladder match winner. I think that's what it screams to me. I think it's just lazy, if I'm honest.
You could say that, but I like the whole psychology of when Becky had her first match with Lacey. She's about to leave the arena, not leave the arena, but just go backstage. And then Charlotte comes down, you see Becky's face. And
no, that's good.
Yeah,
that's
I like
good,
that. I
don't see that part of the cash-in. Like, the bit after is just like,
and then,
he's won it already.
And then Lacey Evans interfering, making Becky lose to Charlotte, and then Bayley coming to the rescue and being up Evans and Charlotte and then cashing in,
Yeah, I will say this. Hopefully,
it involves 4 good women, this storyline now. Becky, Bayley, Charlotte, and Lacey.
Yeah, I mean, it does with the wildcard rule. I see how it plans out. I mean, I'm hopeful because, I really rate Bayley as a wrestler. So there's that. I just didn't feel like it's another Money in the Bank pay-per-view. It's like 3 of the last 4 Money in the Bank pay-per-views had one cash-in. You had Dean Ambrose in 2016, Alexa Bliss last year, now Bayley this year. And I think could just, rein it in, guys. You can have 2 Money in the Bank winners. It's possible. They've done it with Baron Corbin and Carmella in 2017. So
maybe that's what they're trying to avoid. Carmella had the briefcase for ages.
Yeah, but they did it. So Seth Rollins had it for ages. He cashed in at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I think we're going to agree to disagree on this one. It's quite interesting how we all have different opinions. So yeah, let's move on to Roman versus Elias, shall we?
Again, some technical difficulties means I only have Jason, but in a way that's quite good because he's not here. So here's Jason's opinion on the Roman Reigns versus Elias match.
I thought it was very well done, but Roman Reigns did not get an entrance, so he couldn't be booed, and they just had him come in hot.
Yeah.
And it was the second very short match on the show, one move and done. I was hoping Elias was going to win that, and they were going to extend it. They buried Elias again.
They buried Elias again. Well, Roman did beat Elias in short fashion with one spear after Elias hits Roman backstage with guitar. Comedy segment in the ring with Elias. Elias goes to leave, and then Roman comes out with a Superman punch and beats on Elias very quickly. So, because of this, I'm going to be nicer and say let's give a rating for the entire segment than the match, since the comedy I think was good. So I'm going to start and say it was a 3-star segment because Elias is very good at entertaining.
Yeah, I was going to say the same. I think it's definitely a solid 3 segment. The match was disappointing, but Elias's shtick was great.
What about you, Chen?
So, because we're not just judging the match, we're judging the whole segment, I say 4 stars. Since the beginning of Roman walking and then Elias creeping behind him, hitting him with the guitar, doing his solo act, I loved all of that.
Yeah. I disagree with Jason in the sense that I don't think it's a burial. Elias is a mid-carder. Elias doesn't need to be pushed any further than he is. He's very good at what he does, and just keep it that way. And I think this match serves as a great reset before the Universal Championship match, which we'll discuss next. So I think this does its job. It's serviceable. It's not one of the great Elias segments, so I wouldn't give it 4. But I think, if you give it 4, fair enough, Chan. I'm not going to argue against you.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Elias doesn't really need the win. He is still great. I think it's telling that in the Belushi's bar we were in, it's about 30 of us in there. When Elias came out and said, turn off your cell phones, hold your applause and shut your mouths, we all did. Every single person there, complete silence, glued to the TV listening to what he was saying. You don't need to win a match to get that kind of power,
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing wrong with being in Elias's position. He's a future mid-card champion or 24/7 champion. I can't believe that's a thing. Oh dear God. We'll probably discuss that next week, actually. So yeah, let's move on to something a bit better in terms of wrestling, and that's the Universal Championship match.
Cool. So I was able to, despite technical difficulties and inebriation difficulties, capture me and Brod having a little chat about Styles versus Rollins. So here's that clip now.
So, Brod, that match was good.
Yes, it was.
All right. That'll do.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
Same.
It was unsurprisingly good.
I thought 2 of the best wrestlers in the world having one of the best wrestling matches in the world.
I didn't see Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa there.
Oh.
I'm joking, of course, I'm joking.
2 of the best main roster wrestlers in the world.
So there we go. A bit of qualification there. And then I also took the time to catch up with Chen, and this is his thoughts here.
I enjoyed that match very, very much. I'm surprised AJ lost cleanly, but I'm just really happy with how that match
I
went.
thought that was a barnstormer, mate.
So there you go. I think my position's pretty clear.
Yeah, I think you pretty much hated it, Sam. No, I'm joking, of course. So just like last Money in the Bank pay-per-view, I felt this Money in the Bank pay-per-view actually picked up in the last 3 matches, and it definitely started with a bang as Seth Rollins defeated AJ Styles to retain the Universal Championship. I'm going to ask your star ratings. Will there be a 5 for this one? Sam, your star rating first.
So as I pointed out earlier, I can't give it a 5 because that would mean it would be the perfect wrestling match. So I'm going to say 4.2. It was definitely the match of the night, no doubt.
4.2, not 4.25. Okay. 4 1/5 star from Sam. Chen, what about you?
I'm going to give it 4.5.
You're going to give it 4.5. Oh, wow. Very, very good. And I am going to give it... I'm going to give it 4. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to give it 4.5. I'm going to give it 4.5. I think it was a great match. It surprised me, weirdly, considering that AJ Styles hasn't had a great run recently.
Yeah, they could have definitely phoned this one in, and I was a little bit worried about that. But yeah, no, they smashed it.
Yep. Yeah, I don't really have much more to say. I just think it's always incredible how Seth Rollins always gets you invested with the amount of false finishes he has. We should expect it by now, but
Oh, mate. Yeah, the false finishes in this one, I was so convinced Seth was going to win because that's the obvious choice. But there were so many times like he was kicking out at 2.999999999, like so reliably.
I will say this though, that curb stomp reversal into the Styles Clash has got to be one of the most beautiful things I've seen.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it's probably the best reversal of the stomp since that RKO at WrestleMania 31.
Yeah.
I think, that was the move of the night, without a doubt for me. In terms of that was just beyond brilliant, and I think the finish itself, I mean, arguably it's the main roster of the match of the year so far.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that. I don't think I've seen another one that would fit that candidate.
I mean, you could say Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, but apart from that,
no, I think this match was better. So that match, don't get me wrong, that match was also incredible, but this match I think was better.
What about you, Chen?
I agree. This is the number one match so far this year.
Number one overall across every single wrestling promotion in the world.
In WWE.
Even though does that
main roster level. Main roster level.
That's enough. I think we kind of gathered it was WWE's main roster. Yeah, I think Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan was better just because of the storytelling aspect of it. I wasn't emotionally invested in this match as much, so it didn't have a story to it, and I think that's what drags it down from because if it had the story element to it, then I'd probably give this match 5. I'm happy to give out a 5-star rating for an excellent match. It doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, this is really, really good. And I think if this had a better story going into it, I would have even more emotional investment. But apart from that, I really have no complaints. Brilliant match.
All right, solid. In my role as on-site reporter, I did capture one very brief conversation between me and Jason about the Owens versus Kingston match. So here that clip is now.
Right, Jason, I thought that finish was bullshit. What did you think?
Yeah, that finish was a bit crap. I was really enjoying the match, and that finish just seemed a bit out of nowhere after some really good spots. It makes Kevin Owens look a bit weak, I think.
Yeah, I thought he looked like a beast until the finish, and then they fucked it.
Yeah, I mean, okay, he lands on Kofi's knees, and then he eats the, what do they call it now, the Trouble in Paradise.
Yeah, Trouble in Paradise.
But, I don't know, I was hoping he was going to kick out.
He didn't have shoes on, it can't have connected properly.
When did he lose his shoes? Did I miss that?
Oh, Kevin took them off. Anyway.
Smart heel work.
Yeah, very smart, exactly.
So, as mentioned in the clip, Kofi Kingston defeated Kevin Owens in another barnstormer of a world title match. Kingston is still your WWE champion, but did this suffer from audience fatigue after Ron Styles and also a questionable finish? Sam, how would you rate this match out of 5?
I think I would rate the first 90% of the match like a solid 3.5 to a 4. I thought it was a very good match. Like, they're both really good at wrestling, both lads. But then I thought the finish was really like, okay, Kevin goes for the frog splash, Kofi gets his knees up, fine. Then Kingston hits the Trouble in Paradise kick, but Kevin's already taken his shoes off as like a, now you can't hit me as hard kind of thing. But he still goes down for it. That didn't make sense to me. I thought that was kind of made Kevin Owens look weirdly weak.
Okay, fair enough. Chen?
So I agree with what you said. I think fatigue did start to set in, but then I thought when you just look at the match, it's okay match. Yeah, the finish wasn't really that great. It was just stupid, but I think overall I'll probably give it 2.5.
Wow, that bad?
Yeah.
Wow.
As in, I'm a massive fan of Kevin Owens as well, but when I saw it, I was just like, oh, I don't know if it's just fatigue and stuff, but I just thought,
Yeah, I give this 3 3/4. I really like this match. I kind of see why people were upset with the finish in the sense that, you think, taking the shoes off must mean the finisher is weaker. But if anything, I think it protects Kofi's finisher, which is something that he needs. And I think the Trouble in Paradise at least in tag team competition, has always been a well-protected move since he joined the New Day back in 2015. So it kind of makes sense that Kevin doesn't kick out straight away. Yeah, I'm not sure where they're going to go from here. I think that's my question now, because Kevin Owens is clearly the number one heel on the SmackDown roster. I think the next number one contender is Randy Orton, and I think that's my question, is like, who's next? I think they've wasted an opportunity not extending this feud out a bit further, because they could have really made this into a good blood feud, and I think it's a wasted opportunity. But that's my real complaint, more than the match itself. I think the match is very, very hard hitting. It's proof that Kevin Owens is a really good wrestler, in my opinion. But let's go back to you, Chen. 2.5. Why so low? It wasn't an average match. It was surely above average, right?
I mean, I don't know. I just wasn't impressed, and I'm a big Kevin Owens fan. But to me, I just wasn't impressed at all for some reason.
Do you think you suffered from fatigue after Seth Rollins versus AJ, which is always going to be a match that's hard to live up to afterwards?
I think so. That could probably be the reason. That was a hard match to follow.
Fair enough. So I'm going to go to you, Sam. You said the first 90% was 3.5 to 4 star. Would you reduce that rating given the finish?
Yeah, I think I just didn't like the finish. It just felt like, I know, yeah, the Trouble in Paradise is a well protected finisher, and yeah, it normally does put people down, but like, yeah, not having the shoes on, I thought that was like a good way of getting Kev to kick out of it at least once, or yeah, to have a more impactful feeling, a more final finish. But maybe this isn't the end of that feud, and that's why they went with that. I don't know. But yeah, I thought it was okay. Kev did some top Keving in this, power bombs to the apron, yelling.
I think if Kevin Owens doesn't continue this feud, then it's a fine way to end the rivalry. If the feud continues tonight on SmackDown, we're recording on a Tuesday, by the way, then I think fans have the right to complain slightly, because you think, well, you just made Kevin look slightly weaker than he actually is. But overall, I really enjoyed the match more than you guys, it appears. So that's a shame. That's a shame you don't feel the same way.
Don't get me wrong. It's not that I didn't enjoy the match. I just didn't like the finish.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let's move on to the main event.
So by this point in the night, guys, I had worked out how my equipment worked, and I managed to capture all three of you guys giving your opinions on the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. So, first up, here's Jason's very loud and passionate opinion.
Ali, why did you stop grabbing the briefcase, you fucking idiot? Why did you stop?
Has he seen a ladder match before?
He was there, he was holding it, and he thought, I'll just stop for a minute and look at Brock Lesnar. Why?
Idiots, man.
So, very, very passionate about Ali's stupid decision. I mean, why don't wrestling people know how to unhook stuff? Anyway, here's Chen.
So I sadly knew the end of this match because of Instagram by accident. I clicked on Instagram.
I had the same thing, mate.
But I love how that, well, as soon as Brock ran down, he knocked on ladder, knocked half the camera crew over.
So there was that.
And then last but not least, possibly the most enthusiastic amongst us, here's Brod's powerful view.
Brock is back and I love it. I love this ending. Brock is great. Brock is awesome. This is awesome. Makes up for a ladder match that was good. Yeah, Brock is awesome.
So, wow. I guess what, ladies and gentlemen? I didn't have a single alcoholic drink. Yeah, Brock Lesnar is Mr. Money in the Bank, as you heard in the audio clips, at the expense of Ali and 6 other competitors. Sami Zayn was taken out of the match earlier on by mysterious means. The world hates Brock Lesnar. I love Brock Lesnar. I will say this. I thought the match was better than good. I think I was just more in shock of Brock's return. But what are your thoughts, gentlemen? Let's get your star ratings first before we go into opinions. Sam, just a star rating, please.
Just a star rating. Just a star rating this time.
Yes.
I'm going to go with a 4, I think. Yeah.
Fair enough. What about you, Chen?
I'm going to go for a 4 as well.
Yeah, I'm going to go 4 as well. I thought it was a really good match. I think everyone had their spots. Finn Balor was my MVP. Just the amount of insane back bumps he's done onto ladders. The guy deserves quite a few rests and quite a few ibuprofen after that one. He's going to be hurting.
Did you see the supercut he posted on Twitter?
It's amazing.
It looks brutal.
Yeah, I posted it on my Instagram story.
He put good morning.
Yeah.
Which is it's pretty good. So yeah, Brock Lesnar, guys.
I mean, I shouldn't have been surprised with the Saudi Arabia show coming. I think he's always going to show up in any pay-per-view that's near the Saudi Arabia show.
Near the money.
Yeah. It was weird seeing Brock climb a ladder. He looked really kind of like uncomfortable climbing the ladder at first.
Do you think he's like Devon style, scared of heights, like secretly scared of heights?
Maybe.
Yeah, Seth Rollins should challenge him to a ladder match.
What I want to know, right, is in the lead up to ladder matches, presumably if you're a wrestler, in the lead up to matches, you study your opponents and you also study past matches of that stipulation, in kayfabe this is, so you're getting ready. So why don't they, in the Performance Center gym, just get them to practice with the buckle that's hanging up the briefcase so that they can do it quickly? And also, why don't they do drills where they just climb up ladders really fast? Because it's like, whenever a wrestler gets to one, they're like, oh no, what's this? I've never seen one of these before.
It's wrestling logic, Sam.
I know
it's not real logic.
Man,
it's there to increase the dramatic tension. It's like climbing a mountain.
So here's another genuine. This is a genuine question, and not just me being silly. I thought Brock Lesnar appearing in the match was kind of actually cool, but why couldn't he have just been in the match from the beginning? Why doesn't he have to participate in the entire match to win it? One, and what would be the downside from having him be the surprise entrant before the match starts?
I don't care. Brock's back.
I'm with Sam. It would have been cool to see Brock in a ladder match.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool to see him F5 people onto ladders and suplex them onto ladders.
Yeah, exactly.
And let's see if he was willing to take a bump on a ladder.
Yeah, I think he would have, because he put through announce tables and he's not afraid to get really physical. I mean, he's an ex-UFC fighter. He can take a beating.
Yeah, exactly. And he does, people, for all his flaws and stuff, he definitely does sell. He's not afraid to make other people look like they've hurt him.
Agreed.
That's true.
Yeah, agreed. I think, I'm not sure how I would book Brock Lesnar in the beginning of the match because it's not his forte, but what I would have is have him F5 everyone repeatedly and go full suplex city, and then all seven gang up on Brock, put him through a table, and then have him rise out of the ashes and come back and just tip Ali over, and you could have had that, so you could have written Brock out for most of the match.
Yeah.
I think that would have probably made more sense, but having Brock win, I've seen the clip from Raw. And I think actually it's really intriguing because you're actually giving him a championship, but not the championship. You know what I'm saying? So you actually have the Money in the Bank, like the Universal title. So if Brock does go away, you're going to be wondering what he's going to do when he comes back. So actually, this could be a really good Money in the Bank. So you don't actually have it for me, Money in the Bank's kind of an overdone concept. So with the Money in the Bank briefcase being absence, you're allowing for other storylines and you're allowing for bigger shock value when you cash it in.
Yeah, so that's true.
It's not being cashed in at Saudi Arabia. I think there's real potential for some good story in this. And I think it allows Brock to get over with the fans in a way that he's been lacking because his Universal Championship reign, I don't think is his fault, but has been pretty poor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nobody gets mad if the briefcase holder doesn't show up on Raw, right?
I mean,
exactly.
I think it's going to be a failed cash-in.
On who?
On any of the champions.
Yeah.
He's gonna cash it in to have a match and he'll fail to win.
I don't know. I don't think he's a type that would lose. I think one thing I heard that was interesting is that he might cash it in when SmackDown goes to Fox in the very first episode.
Oh yeah, that would be a big one.
Which
But
is
I definitely think he's not going to do the honourable babyface like, oh, I'm going to use my briefcase to have a match with you at the next pay-per-view. He's going to do the heel but cash in where after someone's had a match, or like as a surprise you run in and you cash it in right then and there. That's the kind of cash in Brock Lesnar's going to do.
Yeah, I agree. It has to be heel. It's Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts on this match? Like, I will say this, Chen. Actually, Baron Corbin had a good bit at the end.
Yeah, he was amazing in the match.
Yeah, even
I thought he had a good match. Yeah.
I think all seven of them had a really good match. We're talking about too much about Brock Lesnar. I just really want to say all seven had a really good match. Finn Balor, as I mentioned, was my MVP, but Andrade was awesome. Ali was awesome. Drew McIntyre clearing house was brilliant. And yeah, Baron Corbin's little bit where he's like deep sixing and hitting the end of days and everyone was pretty sick too. So.
What about Randy Orton? What do you think about Randy Orton's participation in the match?
I thought Randy was really good, actually.
I thought Randy was forgettable.
Yeah, I have forgotten what he did in the match because I was going to say, I don't think there was a dud person in this match, was there? Like normally there's a random older guy, but no, Randy Orton was that for me. He didn't take away from the match, but I don't think he added anything.
Yeah, I think calling him a dud's unfair.
Maybe a little harsh.
If he's a dud, Dana Brooke's a dud. She was bad in the women's match. If we're talking duds, then
Randy Orton's not necessarily bad.
I thought Randy Orton, he was very good. He was very good in the opening of the match. I think everything just tends to get overshadowed by Brock Lesnar at this point. I think that's the only downside to having Brock win, is it kind of overshadows what the other seven men did, which was just wrestle their hearts out. But yeah, I think overall this was a really good match.
Yeah, that's true. They did that to put over a guy who wasn't even in most of the match, so credit to them.
Yeah, so let's go overall grade for the show. What I mean by grade, typically away from star, this is not a star rating, this is a letter grade. So from A+ down to F, excluding E. So the American grading system, A, B, C, D, F. You're allowed to add a plus or minus to that. So Sam, what's your overall grade?
I thought this was a B+ pay-per-view, which is kind of where I expected it to fall. Solid, not a big 4, but actually, all in all, it was a good night.
Yep, fair enough. Chan?
B+ as well.
No, okay, and I give this a B. I enjoyed the show a lot, more than I expected to. I think storytelling was a bit of an issue, which marks it down a tiny bit for me. So one last question. It's going to be a double whammy of a question. What was your match of the night and your MVP? Let's go with Sam again.
Match of the night's definitely Styles versus Rollins. That was definitely the best match. And MVP, Finn Balor for punishing his back that much, I think. Yep.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, Chen?
Yeah. Match of the night was definitely AJ versus Rollins. MVP is either between Balor or Bailey.
You have to pick one.
I'm going to go with Balor. The punishment he put on his body. He deserves it.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's a credible MVP. I also agree with you, gentlemen, that AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins was match of the night. I was going to joke Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio, but I just can't bring myself to do it. So that's my match of the night. I was going to say Finn Balor, but you know what? I'm going to do what Chen couldn't say. Bailey's the MVP. She deserves it. Pleased to see her on top of SmackDown Women's division. So congrats and all that. So thanks, gentlemen, for your review of Money in the Bank. Up next is our preview of AEW Double or Nothing. Arguably the biggest show outside of WWE is happening this week in Las Vegas, Nevada, as new promotion All Elite Wrestling are looking to set the world alight with a new brand of professional wrestling. We'll be giving our thoughts on what we are looking forward to, who could steal the show, and more on the Pac versus Page controversy that has clouded Double or Nothing. But first and foremost, gentlemen, what match are you looking forward to most on the card? I'm going to start with you, Chen, since I started with Sam for pretty much most of the Money in the Bank review.
Well, the match I'm looking the most forward to is the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Bros. Ooh, I'm a big fan of all four of these men, and I just think I like, when you want to watch a tag match these days, I always say look for something that the Young Bucks are in. Because WWE doesn't know how to do a tag match properly, especially the main roster.
What the hell is that comment? I'm sorry, no, I'm not allowing that. You should watch some NXT. But
That's why I just said anything on the main roster apart from NXT.
Oh, even then, I disagree. Like, I've got plenty of examples, but go on.
And Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho 2. I mean, the first one was good, so I can't see why this one wouldn't be worse.
I mean, they're both very talented guys, so.
Yeah. Well, okay, fair enough. So, Sam, what do you think it could be your match of the night, or what match are you looking forward to most?
So I think I'm with Chen. I'm quite excited to see the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers because they're both excellent tag teams. I think that's going to be a good old solid kind of introduction to that kind of lucha style. But I'm also kind of a sleeper is the Cody versus Dustin match. I'm kind of looking forward to that in a weird way as well.
I think Cody versus Dustin could make a very interesting story, which is something that I think this card is lacking a tiny bit.
Yeah, exactly.
But I have to agree with both of you guys. I am really looking forward to the tag team match between the Young Bucks and the Lucha Brothers for the AAA World Tag Team titles. I think Lucha Brothers have produced some of the most fantastic stuff on Impact in the past year with their work with the new LAX and Ohio versus Everything and Sami Callihan. I think Young Bucks, I've always said the Young Bucks are not my cup of tea, but whenever they do something really good, like with Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi last year, or when I saw one of my favorite independent tag team matches of all time is them versus Candice LeRae and Joey Ryan. So when they hit for me, they really do something great, and I think this could be a really fantastic match, and I cannot wait to see what these guys do. I'm predicting this now. Young Bucks versus Lucha Brothers is going to be 5 stars.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Young Bucks, they kind of know their audience. So a lot of the time when you watch a Young Bucks match, you just get their greatest hits. Like they do more bang for your buck, and then they hit the Meltzer driver, and then that's the end of the match. But when they want to, they can really pull it out of the bag.
Yeah, and I think they're going to want to, consider it's their own promotion.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm really looking forward to that match. And I'm also Chen, like Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. I mean, Omega and Jericho sell themselves really well. You don't really need to say much beyond that. So one thing that I will say that's a bit of a concern for me, just focus on negative, is that the women's matches are lacking a bit of star power. That's my opinion. I'm not sure about what you guys think. For those who are not up to speed, there's 2 women's matches in the card. Britt Baker versus Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray in a 3-way match. And then there's a 6-woman tag team match with Audrey Kong, Yuka Sakazaki. I apologize for getting these wrong. I'm sorry. And Imai Sakura versus Emi Sakura versus Hikaru Shida, Riho, and Ryo Mizunami. It's not really standing out to me. I like Britt Baker, but that's about it.
I mean, I would say these competitors are kind of like almost all women's indie wrestlers, unfortunately, they're kind of like, if you know, you know. If you know of them, you know how good they are. Aja Kong is really good. Emi Sakura is legitimately a Japanese wrestling legend, but because obviously kind of women's wrestling outside of the WWE and Impact now doesn't really get much attention, most people haven't heard of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I feel kind of blessed living in London in the sense that you do get to see some of these talents whenever possible. But yeah, I think I kind of struggle. If I'm being honest with myself, I kind of struggle with North American talents in particular because I don't see many coming across here. So,
no, same.
So maybe I'm wrong in thinking they lack star power, but I'll be interested to see Kylie Ray though. Apparently, she's going to be tipped to the AEW's equivalent of Bayley.
I think she's definitely got the kind of the personality for that, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think that even though you lot said it's true, they lack the star power. I mean, I don't know half these female wrestlers.
Yeah.
This is the chance to showcase the world who they are, what they're capable of, and this is their opportunity. All eyes are going to be on them. And I
Yeah,
think it'll be a solid. I think it'll be a proper solid women's match,
yeah, I think so too. Like, I
and
think.
maybe even better than some of the men's matches. We'll see.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's, I mean, you know, I have no doubts about their talent whatsoever. I think, you know, for as much as, you know, I can be critical of Cody and the Young Bucks at times because, you know, they're not my biggest cup of tea. I think they have very good taste in what makes a good wrestling match, and I think, you know, I'm very interested to see how the three-way match goes. I am looking forward to that match a lot, despite, you know, quote unquote a lack of star power. But yeah, I think you're right, Chen. I think that's the right way of thinking about it. So hopefully stars will be made out of this match, and hopefully continuing on they'll climb that ladder, so to speak. I have no idea what I was fucking saying, to be honest, but yeah, I hope they do really well. I think that's what I'm trying to say. So yeah, moving on. Is there going to be any like special guests coming in? Is there going to be a John Moxley coming in or anybody else? Who's going to show up?
I could see there being, because in the Casino Battle Royale, you've got basically what is definitely going to form part of the hardcore division for AEW. Jimmy Havoc's in there, Joey Janela's in there. I could see like not all of the entrants are confirmed either, so I could see a John Moxley at number 21 kind of surprise maybe. I don't think he's going to involve himself in a match, but I could see there being like a moment in the Battle Royale, maybe like an eyes locked kind of moment, something like that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's with Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, mate. Moxley versus Havoc is, I mean, that's going to be a match if it happens.
Yeah. I mean, is there anybody else? Like, is there Sean?
I can think of one. And that's Ty Dillinger.
So Sean Spears.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not
He's
Ty.
good friends. He's good friends with Cody. So.
Yeah, I'm not. Oh, when was he released? Because he might have that 90 days no compete clause, which might rule him out.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I mean, I think he was released just after the Royal Rumble, so he should be fine. But I think that might be a potential issue. I'm not sure. Yeah, he could be one. I think Austin Aries could be one.
So I just quickly Googled it. Ty Dillinger was released on February 22nd, so I think he'll be cleared
He'll be fine.
by Double or Nothing.
Yeah, he'll be fine. That's well within 90 days. Well, after 90 days. It'll be 96 days. That'd be a guess if I got that correct. Yeah, I think Austin Aries could be part of the show. He's from Las Vegas. You know, he's teased it, I think, on Twitter that he could be a part of the show, and I think it could be very interesting if he is included. They need all the names that they can possibly get, and him being ex-WWE would help. So yeah, that's my thoughts. So we've already mentioned what match we're looking forward to the most. Who could steal the show? That's the question I want to know. Which individual could steal the show?
I think Dustin Rhodes could steal the show. I think that Cody versus Dustin match is going to be emotional. And I think, you know, say what you like about Goldust, he is pretty good at wrestling, even though kind of he's been relegated to a comedy character in WWE. This could be his last big, you know, his not retirement, but like the match everyone remembers him for outside of WWE, you know? Yeah.
What about you, Chen?
I think one of the women's matches will be very surprising, most talked about.
Is any women standing out to you in particular? That's not a wrestler.
Yeah, good answer. He's covering for the fact that he's looking it up on Wikipedia to see what the names are, whereas true professionals like me load the article up in the segment before this, so it's already up on my screen.
It's already up on my screen too. Oh, come on, Chan. You're keeping this in, by the way.
I don't know. I think Nyla Rose, maybe.
I was thinking Nyla Rose. I think, you know, I mean, we all know the controversy surrounding Nyla Rose. I don't think it's controversial myself. You identify, you identify that way, and I think that's all grand. But unfortunately, not everybody thinks the same way that I do and other people do. But I think, you know, given the opportunity, she could really steal the show. And I think, you know, it's something different in women's wrestling, which is what I kind of like.
Exactly. And it's fucking wrestling as well. Like, it's not a real competition. The most important thing is, can you
It's
tell
a predetermined competition. Do not say it's not. Boo, it's still real to me.
They're not, but they're not actually fighting. Like, so you can still tell a good story. It's like, yeah.
I've just realised I talked over Chen. I apologise, Chen. Why Nyla Rose yourself?
It's just what she represents, and it's just I think she's going to help move the business forward.
Yeah,
and open more doors.
Yeah,
she's definitely going to be one of the ones who's out to steal the show as well, because I think there's going to be a lot of eyes on her.
Yeah. I kind of agree. If I could pick one just for the sake of conversation and just, you know, outside of, I don't want to take Chen's pick away. I'm going to say MJF in the pre-show battle royal. I know he won't do too much, but I kind of like his character, so I'm very hopeful for him.
I think with MJF, I kind of swing wildly between thinking, this guy's really good, and all he really does is come out and insult local sports teams and imply that people's mothers are prostitutes and stuff. It's like, yeah, fair enough. It takes a lot of confidence to talk on the mic and stuff, but I don't know.
For some reason, he just reminds me of EC3 a tiny bit back in Impact. There's just some striking similarity for me with him and EC3.
That kind of arrogance.
Yeah, I'm talking character, not wrestler here.
Yeah, of course.
So maybe he's probably not going to steal Double or nothing, but I'm, you know, going forward, I think he's just one to watch. So I'm looking forward to it. Shall I move on to a couple of negative things and not negative, but different things. So let's talk about PAC. Is it a bad omen for politics within AEW already, considering Adam Page and PAC has been cancelled?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what to feel about this. That match, they gave that match away for free today, and I haven't seen it yet.
I was looking forward to this match very, very much. I'm a big Hangman Page fan, and I'm a big PAC fan. And I hope that it's just all an angle. They can still have a match at AEW. And if they don't, then this is a big hit for the card.
Yeah, I agree in the sense that it's going to be a big hit for the card. I don't think this is an angle at all, considering how it's reported.
So is PAC the problem? Is he the one being difficult? I don't get it.
Nobody knows.
Or the promotion that he's got the title for being difficult.
I suspect it might be more Dragon Gate than PAC, but I don't know. Like, he hasn't lost as a champion, and for me it just strikes a very similar sentiment to when he was Cruiserweight champion in WWE. The same attitude that he shouldn't lose when he's a champion. I think there's very much. I think if that wasn't around, I would be thinking it's completely on Dragon Gate. But it's a question of who really knows, and I don't think you're ever going to get a clear answer from this.
I feel sorry for Hangman Page because I'm one of those fans as well who follow Being the Elite. That's how I became a fan of Hangman Page, just as a person in general. And I just feel like, wow, hopefully he still has a match.
Yeah, his story's been great. He's always been full gear ready, man. Yeah. He just had to believe in himself, and now bastard PAC's taken that away from him. I think it was probably a little bit of both, but PAC is well known for being like an incredibly loyal Dragon Gate guy. So if they said, we'd rather you didn't lose as champion, he won't. He'll just refuse. But you're right that the Cruiserweight history maybe makes it seem a bit more like it might be him as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to throw accusations out there, but, you know, it's just a very interesting story. So do you think Adam Page will face anybody else?
I hope so.
So the rumor that I actually heard, or that I think maybe this was Meltzer reporting this, was that Page was supposed to lose to PAC anyway, but the problem was that was to set up an angle with Kenny Omega where he would then lose, and that was what they didn't want, was for him to job to Omega. So now the match isn't going on at all. So I'm hoping Adam Page gets another opponent. So maybe they'll just accelerate the program.
Pain right there.
I would have loved to have seen PAC versus Omega as well.
No, everyone would have.
I think everyone would have loved to see that match, but yeah, it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame. You know what? I will say this: if John Moxley comes out to face Adam Page or anyone else that they might have signed instead, I think it'll more than make up for it.
I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see John Moxley versus Adam Page more than I wanted to see Pac versus Adam Page.
I mean, John Moxley's a big
I'm just thinking how would they discipline as bosses, the Young Bucks and Cody? How would they discipline their first blip in the business?
Oh, yeah, he's
wrestler.
He's going to be given a Hoover as a companion.
Yeah, the thing is, he's with other promotions, so I don't think they can really do too much, and I think that's the issue. I think that's the one advantage WWE has over AEW in terms of they can easily, dish out fines and disciplines.
Yeah.
While, you can say, oh, you can work for other promotions, you can just say to AEW, nah, I'm not doing that. I don't need to. I think that's a potential issue. Like, will the Elite put themselves over? But, we're getting sidetracked. We're talking about the show and not any potential issues AEW might have as a promotion going forward. So, Sam, you want to end this on a lighter note about Chris Jericho, right?
Oh, yeah. Chris Jericho just no longer gives a shit, and it's extremely excellent. Obviously, if you've not been following the news, it was quite widely publicized, I think, when Chris Jericho went to New Japan. He spoke about how he'd called Vince, and Vince had been okay with it and had been like, oh yeah, whatever helps the business, it's all good, and kind of gave him his blessing to do the All Elite shows and so on. But then suddenly has turned around and I think they uninvited him from, I can't remember. They uninvited him from something, and they also banned WWE wrestlers from appearing on his podcasts anymore. Vince won't talk to him or return his calls. It's the opinion machine has turned on him. So now Jericho doesn't give a crap, and he's just openly panning WWE on Twitter, which is great.
So he mocked the Brock Lesnar winning Money in the Bank, right? And I felt it was a bit rich considering he's done the exact same thing in New Japan.
Yeah.
I think, it's very easy to say, put it on part-timer, but they put the Intercontinental Championship on you. And you featured in, 2 title defenses, which is less than Lesnar. One was against Evil, which is so blatantly obvious. I mean, I love Jericho, don't get me wrong. I love his New Japan contribution. I think he'll be great in AEW. If he's full-time on AEW, then that's going to be really, really cool, and I'll rescind my comment, but I'm just calling it hypocritical for the Brock Lesnar tweet that he put out on Sunday night.
I don't think he'll be full-time with AEW either.
I think it's all a work. He's just playing up to the crowd, his followers, just to promote a Double or Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to be honest, Jericho.
To be honest, I don't care. If I was in WWE's shoes, I would be doing the exact same thing. Of course, you're not going to want your wrestlers talking to the competition or public.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Fair.
It makes sense.
So it makes good business sense. It's fun to say, oh, Chris Jericho doesn't give a shit. It's fun to view AEW as the good guys, but really, WWE have to treat AEW seriously, and you're gonna bar the competition from interacting with your company. So,
of course, I'm not saying that the AEW are kind of crusaders of wrestling purity or anything like that. But it is it's good to have some kind of quality Monday Night Wars type drama again. I quite like that.
Competition's always good.
Yeah.
I want both to do well. I don't. This is my gripe with wrestling on social media and wrestling on Twitter. It's like, this guy's good, or that's just a t-shirt company. It's just like, I know I jokingly said it 2-3 weeks ago that AEW a t-shirt company, but I didn't mean it was for the sake of an argument.
It's a fun joke.
But I'm just like, oh God, why can't you just if you like both, or why can't you just want both to do well, because then wrestling will do well? That's my beef. Anyway.
I want All Elite to succeed, buy out the WWE, and then run like a really bad Invasion pay-per-view where they bury all the WWE stars, and then we never hear of the brand again. No,
and Paul Heyman's commentating saying, and AEW might end tonight because WWE will take it.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. 2021 will be like 2001 all over again. I wasn't even a fan back then, so I'm not really hurt by it. But yeah. Anyway, that wraps it up for this week, and thank you for joining me, gentlemen. And also, more importantly, thank you for listening to us, loyal listener. And join us next week too, where we will be reviewing AEW Double or Nothing and doing some more cool stuff too. But in the meantime, remember to subscribe to us on all good podcast outlets, drop us a 5-star review where possible, and like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at HolyShootPod. And that's the bottom line, as this pod said so.